don't know more of
Just think about this. One day, I'll be stood up there and my wife will be like, do you go take a risk?
What's it? They're not long in the office. You know, if you get paid, they're gone within 2 minutes.
I've got it switched on. I don't normally use it. Sorry. Just for now and later, there's bathrooms through there as well. So. Right, thanks very much for getting back so promptly. So you all had enough chance to check in with the office and everything else. So this afternoon we're going to do something a bit different. Our next speaker might not be that familiar name to you, as she doesn't work in market research. However, she has recently completed a management training course with a number of us across the Fuller Research Group. So she probably knows more about it now than she probably wants to.
Yeah.
So Margaret Zuppinger is a management trainer, and although what she's about to talk about isn't strictly about market research, it'll certainly give you something to think about. You'll be dealing with pesky recruiters that seem to be able to get 6 people but can't manage to get 8. Or pesky clients who want to speak to mums of 6 children plus but can only do it on Friday at 3. So she's going to give you some helpful tips in dealing with people. So over to you, Margaret.
Thank you very much indeed. Good afternoon all. Are we well? Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Here is on the back row. Yep. I'm sorry, Simon, I can't look at you and not see you vulnerable. I know you probably had that before, but the voice, the whole thing, very impressive. It's made my day. I'm going to be down to the fans, but I'll see you later. Okay, please come and grab a seat upstairs.
Yes, keep it going, Margaret.
Come in. So carry on talking until we sat down. No. You're in. Right. First things first, you need to do a bit of fertling. Now I appreciate we've got people from down south who might not know what a fertile is. But up north, a fertile is quite a legitimate activity that you can take part in a room full of people. And where you'll need to fertile is in your designer bags. And in your designer bag, if you haven't already fertiled, should be a set of handouts with Lost in Translation on the front of them. So if you are going back down south either tonight or tomorrow, you can take that word with you and you feel free to use it with any of your participants, respondents, or anyone else. And if they look at you, say, "Look, we can do filtering." So you see, you're perfectly allowed to do it. Okay? So thank you, Abby, and the guys here for putting all this together. I am so impressed and so proud of them, and I shouldn't probably say that right to the group, but what with what they've managed to achieve, because trying to get events like this together with people's diaries being the way they are, and how precious your time is. You're giving up if you're staying for the whole of today, a whole day. If you're staying for today and tonight, well, you might be giving up a week actually to stay tonight, because I know what these parties are like. If you're staying tomorrow, you'll be giving up half a day there. So, well done to you for carving out some time to be here to listen to what we hope as speakers will be things that you can take away and do something with. Because that's the idea. you're doers, aren't you? You don't just sit around twiddling your thumbs thinking of a bad idea. You get out there and you do stuff. So I hope my session's going to help you in that whole arena. If you wouldn't mind turning to the welcome bit in your notes, there's a bit of a brief life history about me, but Abby's very kindly introduced me. I'm great, you're fabulous, that's probably all we need to know, isn't it, about all of that. But the bit that you might be interested in is that I worked in recruitment, different sort of recruitment, employment recruitment, for 11 years, and I worked in retail for 5. And is that somebody's phone?
Sorry.
It's all right. Is it good? We don't mind. Put them on speakerphone. We'll help answer whatever they're going to say. We're here having a great time. Where are you? No, oh, there's nothing worse. Don't feel embarrassed. We've got one charging over here and all sorts of technology going on. But the reason I just mentioned the recruitment bit is not because you need my life history. That's not what you're here for. But what I had to learn quickly in those 2 key areas, and certainly subsequently as a learning and development company director and working in that field, was that people come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, and they have all sorts of different little quirks, if I'm being polite, and little idiosyncratic big ways of behaving and speaking. And I suddenly understood that me just using one style of communication, aka this is the way I am, take me or leave me, it'll all be okay, wasn't necessarily going to work. So what I'm going to share with you this afternoon is part of a journey that we finish tomorrow, so there's a sell for you. You're not going to get it all this afternoon, no, you have to return. And I'm first on. So all I'm going to say to you people, when you come back here tonight and we leave you partying, look at the eyes and I will know who the people will be. They'll say, can I just sit behind the plants and die quietly? You've got a loud voice, you don't need a microphone, you have to be so near me. Of course, you'll all be in bed by 10. I trust you implicitly. But the bit we're going to look at this afternoon is the key part around communication, how miscommunication can occur. And I've had some pretty interesting miscommunication things that have happened to me over my life, so I will happily share those with you. But as I say, it's not a history lesson from my perspective anyway for you. And we're also going to look at different communication styles and behaviours that people will display to you. Bless them. And some of them will not always be the ones that you want. You know, you want people, presumably, to be open, friendly, talk to you, give information, and do all of that with a winsome smile and a little skip in their step. And does that always happen? No, because you're dealing with human beings, and human beings are fascinating and wonderful, but they don't always behave exactly how we like them to. So I hope I can give you a little bit of an insight into a bit about style. And the other thing I wanted to try and have a little look at is to give you an idea about the foundations of clear, effective communication. Now, first thing I will say, lots of the information that you may have already heard today and that you will hear from me and subsequently tomorrow, in your head you will say, yeah, I know that. I know that. Well, I know that you know it because you're a human being and you've been around obviously a lot less time than me, from the young people that I'm looking at in the audience. But you've been around, you've coped, you've survived, you've communicated with people up until now. So lots of the things you may well think are yes. What I'd invite you to do is put the yeah, I know that, and I don't mean that in a rude way, we all do it, and think, I know it. However, do I use it? When was the last time you spent an hour and a bit, couple of hours, really looking and thinking about your communication style? When did anybody last do that? Anyone done it recently? In a quiet moment? Oh, saintly person trying to claw back because your phone went off. You know, there's a smugness in people that you think is a bit desperate, I'd say. Okay, so we've got one person. My husband, he'll be nice to you. It's his wedding anniversary today. I'm mindful enough, isn't I? I just thought I'd put that one in because I've said that and people go, oh, so is it your anniversary as well? Yes. And we've given up the day to be with you. And if you want to vote for us on this one, for that, because wouldn't that be nice on your anniversary? No, I don't want to get on the pens as well. So anyone who says, oh, I haven't got a pen, I'd love to vote for you, it's Zuppinger, Z, pretty easy to find. So that's the advertising bit done. But on to the serious bit. So communication, we don't spend a lot of time actually looking at it and doing a little bit of an analysis, because funnily enough, we're busy living our life, which is what we're meant to be doing. So we're taking a little sliver of time to have a look at it. Okay? So if you are prepared to come on that journey with me, Ooh, yes, nodding faces. Naive, I'd say, but nodding, and I'll go with that. Then I'll take on that journey. And tomorrow, if you've liked this one, well, you'll be back here, and if you haven't, you'll be finding something else to do on Canal Street. 9:30 in the morning, not a lot, guys, I've got to tell you. 9:30 at night, a little bit more activity, but 9:30 in the morning, there's not going to be much. I'm probably going to be the best actress in Manchester, so I'll leave the choice with you and your decision. So key thing, lots talked about communication. If you turn to page 1 in your notes, you should have as a reference. And if you don't mind, we've gone back to pen and quill, sort of writing, but people like to write things, don't they? And they try to write on a memory stick. It doesn't work quite as well, I found. So you can scroll all over these, and if you haven't got one, we've got some spares here. Communication, very simply put, you know what it is. I send some information out, you receive it, we all understand each other, and we go off into the sunset, happy bunnies, all clear and completely cognizant of everything that we need to do and any action. Is that the way it works? No. Thank goodness, because I wouldn't have been able to earn a living for 25 years, actually, if people could communicate very clearly all the time. We're human beings. So a couple of things I just want to give you an overview. Then I'm going to give you some activities to do. Are you up for doing a bit of activity? Non-embarrassing activities, I can see the eyes going already. Oh, actually some of you want embarrassment. No, that's okay, we can provide that, should you require it. But I'll do that in a second. So key thing about the communication loop. If you want to avoid miscommunication, it takes a little bit of planning. I had written down loads of stuff that I got out of the 2 sessions this morning, and key things about making sure that you're talking to the right people, in the right way. Get the right people, but we've got to make sure that we sweat that asset, and I don't mean that in a vulgar way, but if I've gone to the trouble of actually being face-to-face or speaking to somebody on the phone, I need to get the absolute most out of it, squeeze everything out of it. And so often, I see people have gone to all that trouble, and then the discussion bit is like a damp squid, and I'm thinking, you're not going to get this chance again with that person, possibly. So it's about thinking beforehand about what you want to get out of that interaction with someone, okay? So let's assume we've got the right people, we want to make sure we've got the right information. Another key point, which I think came out of Kathy's session this morning, is about managing expectations. I think sometimes, I know as a communicator, I spend my life doing it, I've got unrealistic expectations about what I expect the other person to provide me with. Does that seem reasonable? And I think, I'm trying to keep a straight face, I'm not saying that, but it's true, we sometimes have unrealistic expectations. They can't deliver. It's not they don't want to, but they can't. So I think looking at our expectations, having a plan, being clear, checking we're speaking to the right people. So all of that, I hope, has sort of followed through from this morning to this afternoon for you. So the sender decides, in their wisdom, you, me, anybody, to deliver a message to someone. They need to formulate the message. You'd be amazed how many people don't kind of miss that phase out for some reason. But they go straight into the actual bit about delivery. Right, what's the best way of doing it? I know the quickest way of communicating with anybody is either blogging, tweeting, emailing, texting. That's really good communication. I could run my business without technology, but it isn't right for everything. So a show of hands with you young, gorgeous people. That's every one of you. I'm smiling at you in a knowing way. It's including you, Mike. Don't give me that look on the back row. How many of you were actually trained, taught, whichever way you want to phrase it, to prepare and write emails? Show of hands. How many people were trained, taught to write emails, to prepare emails and send them out into the big wide world? Nobody? How many emails do we send in a day? Loads. I don't know what loads goes into. It could be 100, it could be 50. We send loads of them, and suddenly we get the technology, which I could not run my business without, and we think, yes, of course I know how to write an email. It's easy. Do something now. Boom, send it. It's gone. They're happy. Well, no, they're not happy, because if you just got an email that said, do it now, you might be a little bit, well, how would you feel? A tad miffed? A tad, what about, hi Margaret, how are things? Oh, can't do that in an email. That's showing a bit of empathy and being a human being. Better not do that, you need to tell them straight in an email. And then, of course, we forget to finish it. It kind of just fills, there's no bye, see you, have a drink later, good weekend, none of that malarkey. No, we need to get to the point. And all I would invite you to have a think about I love emails, I think they're great. A lot of people haven't actually sat down and thought about how they can get the most out of that email communication. Because once you've sent, press the send button, what do you think's happening with that email? And they're thinking she's an old woman, we'll treat her gently. It goes, Margaret, down a big sort of wire to somewhere special, and you'll be okay. It goes, but what else do we think?
You can't get it back.
You can't get it back, irretrievable, what else? It's all fine. And the final thing, what do you think somebody's doing with it?
Reading it.
They're acting on it straight away because you're really important people, aren't you? You're really important people. You spend like ages writing 2 lines on an email saying, yeah, that'll be fine, go and do it. And then, surprise, surprise, you're waiting. 10 minutes has gone. Maybe you get that facial tick. They haven't replied, they're really important. You need to answer to this. Half an hour's gone. And maybe you do the sin of sins. You send another one out. Did you receive? I'm only 2 fingers in. Did you receive my email? Question mark. Press send the button. And it goes on and on and on. I'm using it as a little bit of amusement for us, but let's think about it. Communication, when you're last thinking about how we actually write things. You want to get the best result you can, guys. So any communication that you're putting out there, by whatever means, just put your mind in the mindset of the person on the receiving end. How would you like to receive it? We don't want war and peace. We don't want a 3-act play. But a bit of courtesy, topping and tailing it, will get you a better result. And it may put you on top of somebody's to-do list. Whereas if you're rude, trust me, they'll shuffle the papers for a bit and you won't be on the top of their to-do list. Lovely people that you might be. So if we decided whether we're going to do it face-to-face, by email, however, if it's really important, and you possibly can, face-to-face, bit of eye contact. People twitch, but it's good to get them to twitch every now and again. But you get some eye contact with people, you can check whether your message has landed. We can manage to free up a bit of time because we get an instant response that you can check whether or not something's landed. That makes some sense. So if you can, but in the businesses that we all work in, that's pretty tough to do. I fully understand that. That's why you've got to make the answer phone messages, the texting, the Twittering, the emailing, make it land. Think about it. How would you want to receive it? Okay? So again, ideal world, it's gone. Happy bunnies, the receivers received it. They are delighted. They are penning a response almost by the time they've just got to the bottom of your email because it's so wonderful and they think you're so great. And they understand the message. That'll be kind of an added value thing, isn't it? They've understood it. So how are you going to know that somebody's understood your message, however you sent it and transmitted it? How are you going to know? If you get a response, but remember, they might be spending a day, so we don't know, but yeah, do I get anything at all? Either a response or no response, maybe. How else are you going to know that they've understood it? They tell you. And how do people, I'm glad you and I are here, I don't know what the rest of you do. We're having a good time, and we'll be first up for the cakes and the bonbons, because we're near the stairs. They haven't picked that one out. I can leave a bag there and kill 20 people with that one. So they've responded, they're doing something with it, they've replied, they've answered. What else do you do? What do they actually say? Question. They might question, hopefully, we're travelling hotels. What else might they do?
They confirm it.
They
Confirm it.
confirm it and say, yes, I'm feeding this back to you. So we're getting somewhere. Of course, some people, bless them, who aren't here this afternoon, actually say, yeah, I'm fine with that. I've understood it, it's good, yeah, I'm going to take the first action. Do we believe them? Sometimes we need to just do a bit of a double check. So here's a little bit of food for thought for you first off. The feedback bit is probably the most crucial part of that whole communication loop. Check that somebody has really understood it. And you may need to come out of your comfort zone a little and ask a few more questions. And someone might say, I'm not stupid, Margaret. Yeah, I am going to do something with it. Not suggesting anybody's stupid. Need to check that the first action is being taken because my client needs to know that. Okay? If it matters, you spent time putting your communication together, do not forget to finish the last bit of that loop, which is check your feedback and really check it's landed. And I can only say, not just because I'm a girl, I can only say some of that's a bit of a good instinct. You know, you just sort of think, I'm not sure that's landed. They're kind of saying the right noises, but are they actually, you know, sort of responding in a way that's useful? That'd be helpful as a starter for you. So if your communication has stuffed up in any way, technical training term that, check that communication loop. So, with the people on your rows, or in threes, whichever works better, twos or threes, talk to somebody, that's the idea behind it. I'd like you to, I am a trainer, I'm not a mathematician. I'd like you to discuss briefly, a few minutes, because some people will be War and Peace people. There's another 55 things I want to tell you. Colin Parry is going to be on his way, and I think he's worth listening to. And the second point, just in case by some foolishness you don't think he is, because he is worth listening to, there is the party later. So we're kind of on a bit of a time scale here. So I'd like you to have a brief discussion. Where does miscommunication happen in your world? Where does miscommunication happen? I've put a few suggestions over the phone, email, face to face. But what sort of things cause miscommunication in your world? I'll be interested in feedback, okay? Talk to the other person. If you don't know them, they're all really, really nice. And if you're really not sure, they've got a big badge saying on the something like that? Well, I'll come down because it might be there over the top. Did you manage to find 1 or 2 areas where miscommunication occurs? Yes?
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere. I like detail people and specifics. Everywhere. Just everything goes wrong. Okay, I have the rugby ball selector in my hand because I can't be bothered to do creeping death. Oh, you tell me what you feel about miscommunication. So I thought I'd liven it up just a little bit by chucking a ball around. And there's 2 people in this room who will covet this ball, who might not get it. So I'm just going to chuck this over there to that very nice lady. 2 very nice ladies. So just one bit of miscommunication that you have pulled together. Where'd it go wrong?
We spoke about in an initial briefing, if people don't or assume that you know something already and don't actually communicate it clearly, then go away and...
Assumptions. What's the reason that we allow, as human beings, so I'm taking this out of our roles just for a minute, what's the reason that we allow assumptions to sort of get their head a little and sort of we don't challenge them? What stops us challenging assumption? Excellent reason for miscommunication, I would say.
Embarrassment.
Embarrassment, yeah, embarrassment. And what are we embarrassed about?
Not knowing.
Looking a fool.
Looking a fool. Can I just say that people who look fools, and I'm not seeing anybody in this room who fulfills this criteria, okay? The people who look fools are the ones who don't go and ask that question. I'd rather have a moment's, well, maybe 5 minutes, discomfort of them saying, I'll speak slowly to you, Margaret, and explain this again, to check I've really understood it. We've talked this morning about resources being wasted, load of energy, getting a load of people together, and then we end up with something that's not what the client wanted or required. And as we said, they don't always know what they want, so we have to try and help them along the way. So if we can, ask that question, cope with the embarrassment, we'll look at questioning tomorrow, but cope with that embarrassment for a moment. And if you want to soften it, if you've got a high or very low, depending on which way you're measuring it, embarrassment threshold, no, I can't possibly look like a fool, I can't possibly do that, I'm not going to ask a question. Then put a dollop of empathy in. Empathy will let you get away almost with murder, not that I'm advocating that, but almost with murder. And empathy is, I appreciate we've gone through this, we've explained it, we've covered it. For clarification, to be absolutely sure that we are going to deliver what you need, empathy often gets missed out by men and women, it's not a gender thing. So empathy can help you with that assumption bit. So well spotted, I think assumption, everyone's nodding their head, because I think we make some assumptions, I've done it myself, not asked a clarifying question at that moment by email or by phone, when actually, forget my momentary embarrassment, I'm going to look far more embarrassed when they don't want to pay me. I find that's quite embarrassing when I have to send my children, who are quite old now and eat a lot, round to people to get money out of them. So I'd rather be a little bit embarrassed up front, but use empathy. I appreciate, I understand, I can see from your perspective. You might be thinking that we don't know what we're doing, I'm just throwing that into fun, and that we might not know what we're doing. We do know what we're doing, we are professional, and we want to make sure we get it right. So well done. You now are the person that can throw that rugby ball anywhere. You might want to look at somebody, or say person in black, which means you get a lot of people actually. So chuck it wherever you want, what are you going to do for you?
Person... Oh, I'm just going to say not me.
Do decision making on another day.
Oh, thanks.
That was true. I saw that. I saw that. These people didn't see that. I think that's just bailing out actually. Who me? I couldn't catch it. It was something to do with me. It fell off me and just went to the person next door.
But it sounds actually very similar, because we were talking about when we send specs and briefs out to recruiters and how if they don't come back with some well-structured questions on the back of that, you know, they can't possibly understand it. They weren't there at the outset. We're talking client, agency, field, recruiter. They're right at the bottom of the pile, and I think that's where miscommunication happens for us, which is that if they don't come back and ask those sensible questions, they come back within 2 minutes. Say, that's absolutely fine, no problem. That immediately to me is alarm bells. So it's having that. It's the same. It's a similar thing. It's
No. I think it's subtly just a little. I think it builds on it.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about there, which I think is really, really important, the further you get away from the original source, if I can term it like that, of whatever the communication is, the tougher it gets. And again, I want to be real world. I know we can't always get absolutely close to source, but you're spot on. It's for me an alarm bell, and that was the phrase you used. An alarm bell goes off. Hang on. You need to be asking me some questions here, and you haven't done that. So, what we then need to do is ask them the questions they need to be asking us, which I know seems a bit about face.
No, that's right.
If it's important enough to you guys, make sure you get it right. I think just because it was bounced off you, you, nice person, need to throw that ball to somebody else.
Oh no, that's fine.
Or any time, you know. These people here are very nice as well. Ooh.
You have to hit someone on the head.
Yeah. They're watching in the television. These people, these are shoplifters. I just want to let you know. What they're doing here, they're just checking whether security's coming towards them. So they will actually know where you're going to throw that ball. He was the one that was doing it in that song. So, anytime you like, chuck it and just see where it's going to go. Oh, well done. Right, miscommunication. Do you reckon? Is it a handoff? So what did you have? Let's put my
Cheap for a cheap shot. I mean, we talked about similar things, but also when you're speaking to someone and you know it's not particularly going in, but you just carry on and don't bother.
That's the story of my life. No, I know exactly what you mean.
And then don't really bother doing anything else about it and just cross your fingers and hope that it's gone in.
I'm sure by the law of averages, which will be fine, we'll have done it. How many people, it wasn't honest, see I knew honest people knew. And had that experience yourself that you just carry on, almost hitting yourself against the verbal brick wall, yeah? And what's the reason that we do it? Because we're all human beings, and I've certainly done it, so well done for spotting it. But what's the reason that we do it? Why do we carry on when we know, I can only say a gut level, because it isn't always clear that something isn't going in. What do we carry out for?
Lack of time.
You're busy, yeah, you just want to
The section about lack of time, thanks Julie. Lack of time,
You're
and
just busy, you just want to get it.
I just want to get it done.
Across and move on.
And I can do it. And in fact, of course, you know, because you'll have all done time management stuff in your illustrious lives and careers, you can't save time, you can only free it up to use it for something else. And sometimes, and I will say collectively, in my role as well as yours, short-term pain to get that clarification and say, hang on a minute, they're not understanding me here. This is not going in. I'm talking chocolate. I just thought I'd link us back to this morning. Where did that? Talking chocolate, and it's just not landing at all. That's the time to stop. Do a summary. If in doubt, summarise. So 2 key things for you: empathise and summarise. They will get you out of all sorts of trouble. It's helped me in 57 years get out of some very, very tricky situations. Summarise. Can I just check? This is where I think we've got to. So if you've lost the will to live, chances are they've lost the will to live as well. And if you begin to go through the motions with the greatest respect because you're busy, you'll end up probably have to go back another time or maybe a couple of times. So it's far better to actually stop and just say, look, I think we just need a few minutes here because I'm not clear that perhaps I've made myself clear. So let me just check where we are.
Sometimes I think in our business there can be a lack of honesty
Well,
because
we talked about, I was
you're
coming to the
desperate to
honesty.
get somebody to say that they'll take something on,
And they,
and so you sort of slightly whitewash it to make it sound better, and then when it actually comes through, it's actually not what they were expecting, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So all the way round. So I think
it's a big, it's a big one, I think, in any industry.
I'm not saying it's dishonest, but
No, it's just, well, what did it used to be called, Julie? It was a white lie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I never knew where that came from. My gran used to call them white lies, and I said to her, it's a lie. Yes, but it's only a little white lie. It's not a really big one. I think, okay, so we've got a scale going. You see how I grew up. You've got a scale going, a shifting scale of lies. There's a little white lie here about how somebody looks in something or whether they're boring or tedious. And there's a big one like robbing a bank. You know, it was like that sort of continuum. And I think everybody's got their own honesty measure. Does that make some sense? And I mean that with the greatest integrity, especially for our shoplifters on the front row. You know, with the greatest integrity. I think everyone's got that, and all that you can do, so well done for your honesty with all the different ideas you've just shared now, that actually, I think sometimes we've just got to take the courage in both hands and say, honestly, I'm not clear that we're clear, you know? And they might get a bit embarrassed about it, you might be a bit embarrassed about it. It's about understanding that if we can meet them where they are, we are more likely to be able to get an effective communication. Don't confuse this with liking people, them liking you, and everything running in life smoothly. That's not what this is about. But getting clarity will mean at least you're on a relatively even playing field to move forward. So any last one, we don't have to throw the rugby ball of choice around, but any last one that's got a burning miscommunication that they want to mention? Do you want to throw it to that lady? You do, don't you? Oh, sorry. I stopped you. There we go. Oh, one-handed catch. England needs you, trust me.
I would also like to say we talked about checking yourself as well. So I think it's
Well
very
done.
easy to think that you've got it right, and often you haven't. That's more embarrassing.
It's back to Julie's honesty, isn't it? On both sides.
Yeah.
So checking, look to ourselves first. Can I interpret it like that?
Yeah.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Look at you first. If communication has stuffed up for any reason, look at yourself first and say, is there something I could have done differently? And the answer to that will invariably be what?
Yes.
A little chorus, yes.
Yes.
There will have been. We might not like that thought. It can do our head in, to use some of my younger daughter's parlance. It can do our head in, it can be frustrating and all of those things. But if I look to me first, then I'm trying to work from a position of integrity. Don't always get it right. Have bad hair days, hard to believe I know, but have bad hair days occasionally. But at least you're trying. And people buy people first before they buy whatever you are selling in terms of an idea, a concept, a task you want to get them involved with. So they need to buy you, and it's trust that helps people to feel comfortable. So well done. Do you want to throw it to me now? Because you'll get fed up and you'll have to throw it somewhere. Well done, thank you. Well done to all the throwers. Your card's marked on the, that little fend off. But again, there might be an opportunity for the England team for you. Little space left. So, miscommunication happens. At the bottom of the page, I put a little phrase for you, which may help you with yourself first as a communicator, which is equal and different. In any sort of role and any sort of communication, if we've helped the other person to understand us, not like us, like's the big ask, but if we've helped them to understand us and be able to work professionally with us, then I think I'm treating people as equal and different. Everybody in this room is equal to everybody else, as far as I'm concerned. I'm just sticking to this room, but the whole Manchester and the world. But we're all very different. Would that be fair? You've got different speakers coming over this day and a half, and we bring something different. Doesn't mean it's better than what you've got, your experience, very far from it. But it's equal to it, because if we put all of it together, then you can all cherry pick different bits, can't you? But you, I would suggest, will have come across people who play the superior game. Ever encountered them? I'm better than you. It's quite simple. I've been doing this stuff for 25 years. I've written a book, actually. I've written a book about how to communicate effectively using presentation skills, and I've got a fabulous surname, so I'm really, really brilliant and great and good. I will spare some of those little pearls of wisdom and just toss them around, a bit like that rugby ball. You might be able to pick up a few things, but wow, not so sure. Might be a bit tricky. Arrogant, vomit maker, I can only do that for so long. Arrogant, in your face, not effective, clear communication. The other version of that, just at the bottom, just as a quick to wrap this bit up for you, is the inferior bit. Well, I've been asked here because, well, frankly, the other two people who were going to ask couldn't turn up, and down the road, I'm cheap, so it's only £4 for a return rail ticket, and Julian, I thought that'd be a good idea. So I'm not going to keep you long, because there's not much that's probably about it, really. In fact, you could read it. You could just read that when you're having a cocktail this evening. Now, are you going to, whilst that might be vaguely amusing, are you going to really want to listen, take on board, act on what somebody who's treating you in a very arrogant, superior sort of way, you humble people, or somebody who's pretending that, actually, I don't really know much about it, kind of, really sorry. You've got to man up, and person up, people up, woman up, whichever variation to keep us totally PC. It's about being equal and different. I don't have to apologise for being me. Gave up doing that a while ago. Some people in this room will like me. Some will like me enough that I get a present on my anniversary. A bit like that. I just thought I'd just drop that in. Never miss an opportunity to drop that in. And other people will think, not my sort of person at all. And that's fine. That's life. I hope that what we all leave with is a mutual respect for each other's experience, knowledge, skill, all of those sorts of things. Equal but different. And if you can extend, and it's a big ask sometimes, I deal with clients, and some of them don't know what they don't know and don't know what they want, and we're meant to go into, hang on a minute, yes, I'm doing it. What is it? Dan Brown who does that thing of reading people's minds, yes? He doesn't really, but I fill in later over the break what he actually does. But you know, yes, I've got it. Don't bother speaking. I know what it is that you actually want. Well, we don't. So if I'm equal and different to those people, I can respect them. It's difficult explaining things. Fine, I'll try and help you. That's the idea, to help people as best we possibly can. So miscommunication happens. Now, another bit of work for you, because these guys, they work very hard to set this up. Another bit of work for you, just in your 2s, 3s, a few minutes. I know we won't do the rugby ball because I'm not a vengeful woman. Okay. Have a think, how do you want to be treated and spoken to? Generally, in life's rich tapestry, let's just forget about work for a minute, but generally, how do you want to be treated and spoken to? I want some key words from you. So, a couple of minutes, talk amongst yourselves. I have some ideas, but I'm more interested in hearing yours.
It's not really overly formal.
And the mingling's been good. So, give me some key words. How do we want to be treated and spoken to out there in the big, wide, wonderful, beautiful world? So chuck a few words at me.
Respectfully.
Respectfully. Oh, there's it. You see, the depression that went behind you, if you'd looked there, you'd have been able to see. You just wanted to get that one in your...
That's the only word anyone...
That's it. Everyone's got that. Anyone got another word that is as good, obviously not better, than respectfully? So we've got respectfully, any others?
Appreciated.
Appreciated. That's fine. Respected and appreciated. Valued for what we do. Yeah? Not unreasonable, what else?
Oh.
Health and safety. We plan for it. We plan for it to happen tomorrow about lunchtime. Any others? What have we got? So we've got respectfully, bits of integrity. So be treated with integrity. So how would I treat you with integrity? Be fair and honest, tactful, diplomatic. I feel safe coming on already. We're warming to this theme, aren't we? Yes, be diplomatic and that. So with integrity, okay? Appreciated, integrity, respectful, any others? Honesty. Courteously. Yes. I'll stop talking. With courtesy. Now, courtesy. Wonderful thing about courtesy. And it's a generational thing, so I'm going to show my age because you won't have realised actually how geriatric I really am. But my grandmother, who I grew up with, lived at our house, so I got pushed out of the bedroom, really. It was a bit sad. Again, very sad, but would cheer me up is getting that thing. Would help me deal with the trauma of my grandmother living with us. But she always used to say, Margaret, politeness and courtesy costs absolutely nothing and benefits everybody. We don't have to like them all, and I know I keep on saying this because sometimes an expectation is, yes, I want to like everybody I work with, and we'll go together, oh, it'll be wonderful, we'll skip off into the sunset. No, it ain't going to happen. So let's get real and, you know, take that little scale off our eyes. But courtesy, fantastic. You meet people on the way up in life, okay? And for quite a few of us, myself included, you meet them on the way down. So being nice to people, whoever they are on whatever level, says so much about you. But what's the reason some people get a bit of a struggle with this politeness and courtesy thing?
Busy.
They
Busy.
are?
Busy.
Busy. They're too busy. Thank you. Sorry, it's that metal bar behind. They're too busy. What else?
Arrogant.
Arrogant. Thank you. They think this is beneath them. Yes, so that's crawling to people. That's being humble and showing a bit of humanity. And that's weak. It's weak to be polite. No, I'm going to slam doors in everyone's face. That shows I'm a real person. It shows you a bit of a dipstick, actually. But hey, so it shows an awful lot more about you if you are courteous with people. Any more? Any other ways that we'd like to be? Two more ways that we'd like to be treated.
With empathy.
With empathy. You see, you've learned something already. I was impressed the way you just fed that back to me. With empathy, yeah. It's a tough job that you do. I appreciate you've got to ask me 50 million questions to get what I need. I understand that. Thank you very much. A bit of empathy. Beautifully said. Empathy. One more. Equally. Another one said, oh, God, that one as well. Yes. I'd respectful first and then I'd equally. And then I'd honest. Ooh, we've all gone. But it means that we're all thinking along the same sort of lines. So if you want to be treated with all of those things, with respect, with equality, appreciated, with integrity, honesty, on all of those things, is it any big surprise that everyone else wants that as well? So if you're having a bad day, how do you manage on the old respect, integrity and honesty scale? Just thought I'd ask. It goes out the window, doesn't it, because we're human beings. So I wanted to introduce you to some of the reasons why it goes out the window, which might help you prevent the loss of your wonderment and honesty and equality and respectfulness that you show to other people. If you wouldn't mind turning to page 2 in your notes, I've put 4 behaviour styles. Now, we're not spending long on it, it's not a course in behavioural skill, but I thought you might find it interesting. And I want you to remember those key words when I ask you about how you want to be treated and how you want to be spoken to. And as we're going through these 4 behaviours, I'm going to ask you a question at the end about which of those behaviours is closest to the way that you would like to be treated. So be thinking about that, okay? It's a test. Now some of your eyes have brightened up and you've sharpened a pen and you're looking keen. Others go, test, I want the answer's here. It's okay, we've already done it. You're going to get it right, all right? So, some of the people that you deal with in life are not like you. Have you noticed that? They're not lovely, they're not empathetic. They're trying to be, but they're not quite there. They're not honest and open and respectful and all of those things. They're working to a different script of life. Whole different course, whole different topic to go into. But I thought it might be helpful to give you 4 of the most observable behaviours that we see out there. And please understand me, it isn't that somebody is directly aggressive and that's it. They're a label, that's all they are. They are displaying that behaviour. Does that make some sense as a point of clarification? To remind you what you already know. So it isn't saying, aha, somebody pointed a finger, that means they're directly aggressive, that's what they're like all the time. Even aggressive people sleep.
But not for long.
And I don't know whether that's qualitative or quantitative information, but at some point they sleep, okay? So therefore they can't be aggressive all the time. Okay, they might have a nightmare, I can see you detail people. Aha, they could have violent dreams, who knows? Well, I don't. They have a rest. So, first corner. Very high in clarity and directness of communication. You will know exactly what it is they expect from you, and if you've ever used this style, what you expect from somebody else. There will be no grey area, no waffle, no 15 pages of emails, as we were talking about before, thinking, what is the point and the message? It will be, I'm going to be very direct, I'm going to be very clear, and of course I'm not going to give any thought to you, because why would I need to do that? So I'm just going to basically be telling you all the time, this is what we're going to do next. Okay, I want you to sit up because of this casual posture. It's just doing my head in on the front row. So sit up, put your back back. Yep, that's perfect. Thank you. Well done. You responded incredibly well. Just do it. Okay? Sit, stand, do it. It's telling people. You'll know exactly where you stand, but do you feel comfortable on the receiving end of that? How many, show of hands, how many people like being told in a fairly feisty, aggressive sort of way to do something? Will it get the best out of you? No, because you're all rebels, I can see it in your eyes. No! Hell will freeze over! Don't start telling me what to do, I'm going to run in the opposite direction. Okay. So because people have realised that, eventually, over the years, people have actually moved to being indirectly aggressive. Now this is the bit that everybody really sort of does the squirmy thing and thinks, oh no, nobody does that, Margaret. They're either directly aggressive or they're a bit passive. This indirectly aggressive behaviour is smoke and mirrors par excellence. It's a funny one-liner. It's a little winsome smile. It's, you wake up at 4 in the morning, or maybe you just go to bed at 4 in the morning, I'm still waking up at 4 in the morning. You wake up at 4 in the morning and you're thinking, they pulled the wool over my eyes, they had me, I don't know quite how they did it. Does that make some sense? Yes? I got a few people, oh, that happened to me. I'm a trained counsellor, if anyone's had a really bad time. If any of this information has brought up feelings that concern you, see me in the break, okay? We'll have a little cue. Because I think that is like nailing jelly to the ceiling. It's using sarcasm. So, for example, if people came into a meeting late, I'm not talking about, this isn't a meeting, this is an event, and people have phone calls and things to make, but people come into a meeting late, we could just turn around and wait until the meeting's over and say, you know, really, in future, it would be very helpful if you could arrive on time, because, you know, there were, how many of us here, about 50-odd people waiting to start what we were going to do. Would that be okay? So you've had a quiet word with somebody. You're trying to be courteous, and hopefully it won't happen again. If I was using indirect aggression with people, it would be as they came in, it would be the funny one-liner. Oh, your watch's not working then? And I'd say it loud, you know, so that everyone else can hear. What time did you think that, can you not read? It says 10 o'clock on there, can you not get that? And what does the person actually pick up from me in terms of communication, if I was using that style of behaviour? A little bit of latent aggression, not quite a new phase. What else?
Sarcasm.
Well done. Can we all have that again? 1, 2, 3. Sarcasm. And we're all, who's good at sarcasm in here? Have you polished that skill? Yes, I'm really good at it. It's taken me years, and now that woman from Manchester's going to take it away from me and say I can never use it again. No, I'm not. All I'm saying is it's dangerous for you. It comes with a government health warning, because that person will not know whether I think them coming in late is funny, and I'm not bothered, or whether it's something serious. If you only have a few occasions to land your communication, guys, you could be wasting a lot of time and effort using that one. What is the reason that people use it, though, just out of interest?
Subtly make the point without, like you say, directly.
It's fine. I used to think that, Margaret, but now I don't. I've been converted. But yes, they think they're being subtle. And they're being really so subtle that I'm thinking, late, in, friendly, what's going on? They think they're being subtle. Because in the UK, quite often, we think subtle is a good thing. We don't want to embarrass people. We talked about embarrassment before. Don't want to embarrass people by telling them exactly what they're not doing right and how they're not communicating. Turn it on its head. How would you like to be fed information and communicated with if you had arrived late or something had gone on? How would you like to receive that information? Have it communicated to you? Privately? Just be told. Just get on with it. So all of that, I'd waste my time with you, wouldn't I? Because it wouldn't work. And you'd think, what's she talking about? Grow a set, Margaret. I'm moving on to the next person. You wouldn't like it. Very few people do. So if you like people and you want life to be as pleasant and affable for everyone, I would invite you, if you have got that in your repertoire, I have, to reduce the amount of times that you use it. Because it actually is not being kind to people. Being kind is telling them one-to-one, face-to-face, that something isn't quite right. Does that make some sense? And there's loads of ways that you can do that, tactfully, with some empathy, thank you, from the back row there, and it works. So if we move over to passive behaviour. Now, passive behaviour is not about being lazy. People confuse this. Passive behaviour are people who actually look hesitant maybe, they don't express their needs. These can be a bit of a time bomb for you guys in your role, because they'll say they will do something and then not do it. Because they don't want to disappoint you by saying when you're speaking to them or emailing them or contacting them in any sort of way, they don't want to actually say, no, don't fancy doing that, thank you very much. Yeah. Not interested in any of that. Don't want to work with you, don't want to have anything to do with that, don't like chocolate, whatever it might be. No, I'm fine, I'm really good with that. Yeah, it's okay. And they won't necessarily be mean and horrible. Is that helpful for you as a communication style from somebody else? You need it straight, don't you, if I use your an example. Think about it. When have we perhaps used passive behaviour when we could have been a little bit more direct and a little bit clearer? And what's the reason? I wonder if I should share that now, but have a think, because most of us will have used it. If you're not sure about whether someone actually is going to do something, I'd fire in some more questions now. Not just because I'm talking about questions tomorrow, but I'd fire in some more questions and really check that you're not just getting the, yeah, I think you're a really nice person, you've been friendly, you've joined in, I don't want to let you down as a person, you know, I've built rapport with you, so I'll say yes, I'm going to do it. What's the bigger letdown? You don't deliver. Biggest letdown in the world. Not a group hug later. But it's the biggest letdown in the world when you said you're going to do something and you haven't. And I don't think you've got time for that. So, last but by no means least, assertive behaviour. I clearly express my needs, my wants, the whole shebang. You know what I'm thinking and feeling, and I know hopefully what you're thinking and feeling, and I try and meet you where you are, good day, bad day, hot, cold, whatever it might be, to ensure that we have clear, open communication, that we're as open as possible. I am more likely to win, in other words, be heard, and you're more likely to win, have your integrity. And remember, you talked about some of those key words. So, here's show and tell time. Out of those 4 behaviours, with the words that you used, back to me, about how you want to be treated and spoken to, which behaviour fits those words that you used, which were respectful, equal, integrity, appreciative. Yeah, it's a pain, isn't it? So those are the three, not an option. Well, of course they're an option, because they're reactive behaviour. I don't have to train anyone to be aggressive. Funnily enough, they arrive knowing that. It's defensive behaviour. I have to train anyone to be passive. I'll keep my head below the parapet, I'm not going to get into any trouble, that's the way things are. Keep it all nice and quiet and steady. I don't have to train people to do that. We arrive with that pretty much intact as survival. Assertiveness is learned behaviour. So if you want to get more out of your communication, ladies and gentlemen, I'd invite you to look at that area, because what you said to me this afternoon is you want to be treated respectfully, you want to be treated with courtesy, you want to be treated in an appreciative, equal sort of way, you want integrity. I think most people, on the whole, want that. Unfortunately, some of the people we work with might not know that they want that, so we have to sort of try and gently guide them down that route. Does that help make some sense for you? And does it help to explain why some of the people you deal with, when you're getting some of that, I was just thinking about directly aggressive, I don't really hitting people, but you know, a bit abrupt and a bit, how you doing that? No. What do you want this information for? Understand it's their reactive behaviour. They might be under pressure, back foot. I'm not making excuses, but if you meet them where they are, and I go back to empathy, you need to de-escalate conflict, and I had to do a lot of it in my retail and my employment part of my life. Empathy. I appreciate that you are concerned, upset. We've asked you for a lot of information. I understand that. The reason for this is X. Always acknowledge someone when they've got a full head of steam, okay? Because they've gone to a lot of trouble to get mad. And I think it's, well, they do, don't they? Come on, I practice having a strop. House where we live now has one door that doesn't shut properly from the breakfast room into the hall. You like that? That means we've got more rooms downstairs. I always like just saying that. It's the room next to the kitchen. Anyway, the door doesn't shut properly. I grew up in this house, left, and my parents, my mum sadly died. My dad said, don't want to be in a big 3-bed semi, I'm moving out. Do you want to buy the house? Because we were looking for a house. This is news to my husband, by the way. So this is your anniversary present. Because he still does not know why this door does not shut. Because I was a tad stroppy when I lived there the first time round, and I was good at the flounce. You know, you put a lot of energy into the flounce, don't you? You all know it. The guys say flounce, no, that's a girl. A girl that does that, we've learned 2 words, turtle and flounce. We do very good at flouncing up north, we do it incredibly well. Particularly on this street, I have to say. So, a lot of flouncing goes on, so you basically go out the door and slam it. And that's the reason why, in Zuppinger Towers, that door doesn't shut properly, because I flounced a lot. I was really good at that. Because when you run and you yell at people, they don't want to stay in the same space as you, so they don't communicate with you. You don't have to listen to all this stuff that says, and there's another thing that you've not done, actually. Gone. That's the reason why people will sometimes use it. All I invite you to think about, you've got a choice, guys. You have a choice about your behaviour, what is going to get you the best possible result, and squeeze the last bit of opportunity and information out of every face-to-face, phone, email, Twitter, whatever it is, communication. A bit of effort from you. How do you want it? They will drive you, those other people who aren't here, will drive you insane. Do you think you know what answer they give me? Well, Margaret, I could tell you what they do. They don't do this, they don't answer email, blah, 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 blah. So none of us perfect, okay? Look at ourselves first. Brilliant contribution, thank you. Look at yourself first and say, if I'm going to improve and get the best I can, I would suggest having a look at your behaviour. And if something hasn't worked and you review it later on, have a think, could I have done something slightly different? And the answer will invariably be, yes, I could have done. And that's really hard in front of my husband on our wedding anniversary to admit, one, that the door to the breakfast room in the hall doesn't work, and also to admit that I occasionally might be wrong. I just want you to know, if I had earned that bottle by now with all of that, I mean, this is almost bearing my soul in front of people. So I hope that's been useful. But I want to give you the foundations of clear communication. If that's a help, and by all means, you know, if you've got any questions at the end, or when we're having a group, feel free to ask me. So, Foundations of clear, effective communication. I've given you a fag packet version, even if you don't smoke. Comes down to 4 key things based on my experience of life. So I'm giving you my take on this, guys, so feel free. It's like those lovely sandwiches. Weren't those sandwiches great, by the way? Just on to food for a minute. What a inspired idea that would be. Love that. If you can just let me know where I live, then all my meals could be like that on the tray. Because I just struggle to get the stuff in the plastic bag after I've made it. And I've had a big eggs with it, yeah. Do you knock your cakes around and pretend that you've made it?
My kids for years thought I put the birthday cakes in the cardboard boxes. I said that was the skill.
Listen, she's named. I'm going to have to deal with that later. Yes, ours was the same. In fact, we're just digressing from that. Our elder daughter, it was her birthday at the end of last month, and a cake was duly purchased. In fact, we ended up with 3 cakes. We might not be good at many things, and woodwork and repairing doors, but when we have a party, there's always enough cake to go around. And she goes, oh, Mum, look, I'm 28, and, you know, all those cakes that you made, and I was just having a little glow there, you know, little glow. And Tony was just thinking, yeah, well, I was going to do something exciting as well, I didn't have to make a cake. And she mentioned the one piggin cake that I didn't make. I never made her a caterpillar cake. It came from Marks and Spencer's. But that's the one she remembers. She doesn't remember the teddy bear that I spent all night trying to get its fucking arms to stay on with cocktail sticks, and it was all melting. It looked like this, it was like a Quasimodo teddy bear. And I sort of had to limp it onto the table when she was 3. No, she remembers. She remembers the caterpillar. So I'm right with you there, Jules. It's a traumatic time. Anyway, moving on to what we're here to talk about. Foundations of clear communication, my version of it. What we believe about ourselves and what we believe about other people. Okay? Where do we get our beliefs from? It's time to just do a bit of guilt. Blame family. Yeah, mothers have got consequences for. Family, friends. Personality, explain personality to me a bit more. Oh God, I thought you just wanted me to say one word, not ask me another question.
The person that you are.
The person that you are. Are we our personality or are we the behaviour that we display to people?
Media.
Oh, wow! Blimey, I have to write that one down. Didn't know that. Who said media, Big? Yes, I thought it would be you. You've just woken up now, haven't you? Calm, and in my session, you decided to just give me a bit back. Yes, media. A viewpoint of the world. Okay, so beliefs come from loads of different places. And you can choose what you want to believe. So you can believe that all the people you attempt to communicate with are muppets because they don't understand, A. Or you can believe that you're a bit of a muppet because you haven't actually managed to communicate to them. Neither of those are possibly going to help clear communication, are they? I was using polite after lunch language with the term of muppet. So beliefs are helpful. I believe when I'm communicating, like now, I'm trying my best. It will land in some areas, it might not land in others, but at least I'm trying my best. I'm being respectful, I hope, and I'm treating everybody with due courtesy, a word that we used before. So that's one to have a think about. Your body language, your tone of voice, and the verbal structure, which I'll just give you a little bit of info on in a moment. But your body language and your tone of voice, there's loads of stuff out there. You guys, I must be in the room with people who know more probably about body language and tone of voice. You've seen a DVD. Anyone heard of Moravian? Simon will definitely have heard of Moravian because he's nodding sagely. Okay. Albert Moravian? No? If you've got nothing to do tonight, and I know you have plenty, but when you get back to your hotel, obviously 9:30, 10 o'clock, and just Google Albert Moravian. There's a name to conjure with. That's a sensible guy. He did a load of research. I don't know how much that is, and I don't know whether that's quantitative or qualitative. He did a load of research about how people communicate non-verbally. Now, some of that research I think has a lot of value. Some of it you might want to have a sift through and think, really? Yeah, is that fair? You know, all research you can look back on and think, maybe. But the bit that landed for me was certainly if you want to talk with some real conviction, either over that, and its tone of voice obviously comes into this if you're doing so with the phone. If you're face to face, it's actually making sure you are completely congruent with everything you say and do. The people who were talking about integrity and honesty and being respectful. I've reached an age now where my brain is quite full It's huge and it's full of lots of information. So I've got to be a bit selective about what else I put in, because something else is going to drop out. You know, so you might not be there, you're laughing, it'll get to you as well. So I have to, you know, be a bit discerning about that. And really, it's better for me to match what I'm thinking and saying with my whole body language. That makes sense? So congruence is a complete match. Because what might you believe if I were to turn around and say, I'll go up near this dangerous plant. I rather like this, these have lived well through many occasions in this room, Abby. Okay, so if I stand here, and most of you can see me, all of me, well, as much as you need to. Today's been really great. It's interesting and I've learnt a lot. And you people, you're fascinating. So thank you, it's been really good. Not nice? What are you laughing for? Those words were lovely. I could write those down. So what is it that just gives us a little bit, and I appreciate doing this at an event, but it just makes you just think, hang on a minute, I don't think she means that. You're right. Because you're looking at the body language and the signals and all of that. Now, in my role as an L&D person, we rarely stand still. It's part of our exercise programme because we don't have time to go to a gym. And we use our hands a lot because often we've got people on the back row whose eyesight might not be as good as people on the front row. So you have to make yourself look a little bit larger with your gestures. The key thing for you guys is, whatever's going on inside your head, clearly one sometimes needs to do a bit of in-head edit before you speak. You know where I'm going with this. We're intelligent, articulate people. I don't wish to patronise you. But if you're happy about something, then say, yeah, I'm really happy. I think it's been great so far today. So impressed with what the guys have sorted out. You're a great audience, you're interested, you're taking lots of notes, you've asked loads of good questions for the people. Fantastic. It matches, doesn't it? The body language matches, the face matches. You might not agree with the wacky language from the woman from Manchester. That doesn't matter, but you at least think that's believable. It's when you get that feeling inside that says there's something not quite right here. And it'll either be that their eyes are not looking at you, and everybody looks up, looks down, and does all of that as a norm. But you know when they're really not looking at you, shifty and a bit sort of like that. And you just think there's something not quite right. So you're looking to get a match. Okay, so congruence, there's a word to conjure with for the rest of the day. You will become behaviourists during the course of the day because you're not going to be able to not look at people and think, why are they doing that? What's the reason they've crossed their arms? Well, when you've got chesticles, you've got to do something on them. And it's been a long day. So far, so you fold your arms. It doesn't mean you're being aggressive, it just means you folded your arms, because I'm not sat on a chair with arms, okay? It's pick up signals, put it all together. If in doubt, just ask, okay? Check with the person. But from your point of view, if you really mean what you say, then you don't have to think about all of this stuff. Actors can spend a long time thinking about, right, I'm now going to be one of the witches in Macbeth. Right, okay, get in my head, I'm going to do that for 3 hours every evening and a matinee on Saturday, and I can get into that body language and do all of that. We're too busy doing our job, guys, to think about all of this stuff. So let it come as naturally as you can. But I like to give people a bit of help. So what I thought I'd sort of wrap this little part of the session up with, if I may, is taking you through some of this verbal structure. I don't want to put words in people's mouths. You don't need me to speak for you. You're more than eloquent and intelligent to do that. But sometimes people like a bit of a steer. However, you've been sat down for a while. Now, this is a risky strategy, because we've already had one incident of something falling on someone's head. I know some very good lawyers, and not very far away from me. Just see me later. And for you guys, I didn't say that, and you can see me later as well. So I'd like you to stand up carefully, especially those. Said you ought to. I'm sorry, I didn't notice. We'll talk about this later. So make sure you're not going to trip up. Stand up, and you need somebody in front of you. I will demonstrate with someone from the front row who's just happened to be here. So come with me, front row person, onto our display. This is our display podium. We could do podium dancing. This would take me back to being 17, but we're not going to do that. Right, what you need to do, stand up, get somebody in front of you. If you mind, just spread one around your head on there. That's all you need to do. So can we all do that? Yeah, we've got someone. If anybody's short of somebody, I've got a spare man here. Have we got somebody? You need to be in front without anything in between you. Okay, so you can just be like this. Yeah? Now comes the difficult bit. She left you, you were being so nice. You can have this smile in a minute. Anybody who's, you could try doing it with 3 of you, you might be interested. So here's what you need to do. Health and safety. Make sure you're not going to fall over, because some fabulous heels in here. I'm not sure why guys are wearing those with suits, but they seem perfectly happy with that, and that's okay by me. What I want you to do is do this, hands up, and we get to touch. I don't know what this is doing for you. Now, decide who's going to be person A. So who's going to be person A? Deciding your twos? Yeah, sorted. Brilliant. You can have it in here. Yeah, she's nice. Person A, I want you to start pushing for all your words. Okay? How are we doing? You're right. Okay. So, they're just going to have a go. Firstly, who said stop? Right. See how direct and sometimes I've only did mess with you. Who said that person B had to push back? Well,
we assume.
Person we assume. Right. So here's a key thing for you. A bit of fun with a serious message, and we'll finish off this bit this afternoon. Have you had a chance to have a go? Yeah, good. And it worked for you? Oh, good. Check it. Person A was asked to push. The automatic response, almost, and the assumption of my lovely husband, who is my plan for the afternoon, said, it's almost natural for you to push back, isn't it? Yeah. So, in life, verbally and physically, if somebody pushes you and your buttons, you are more likely to push him back, which might mean that you're not going to have very clear communication, or you have to do a bit of hand-to-hand fighting or arm wrestling. So please return to your seats with care. So your key message out of that, one to just energy for you, but the key message is, we can use pushing type language and phrases with people, and you will get a result. And there are some times in life when it's perfectly reasonable to push gently, with respect, with integrity, all of those words that you talked about. Does that make some sense? So the sorts of things, to finish off the afternoon for you, pushing language, stating your expectations. I'd like this finished by Friday. You know, I would like this finished by Friday, I need it by Friday. Now, if I have to skip like that, that's quite reasonable, isn't it? You know, we're being clear, we've got all of those things going on. If I turn and say, I would like this by Friday, and I'm doing all of that, then it's going to get possibly a slightly different response from somebody. Okay? Well, it was from me. As you know, remember the breakfast room door. I need it today. I need it today. Different tone of voice, you're going to get a different response. You'll have a conversation with someone. Stating your views, I don't think that's acceptable, because if you want a magic influence word, I know we're not really doing influence as such here, but because it's an influencing word, it's about saying to someone, well, because it might be obvious to you what the reason is that you need something, but to them, they're not clairvoyant, we've all agreed with that, so it will be helpful if you told them, because it's going to really help me to help you. If I get this information now, I'm not going to be on the phone, emailing, whatever, sending armed men around to your premises to get an answer. Okay? It's going to save us a bit of time. Offering incentives. Oldest one in the book, I know, but I thought I'd include it. If you do that, I'd be prepared to do this. Now, I always start with the carrot rather than the stick. Stick, in our sort of business, I don't think even probably has a place. But, you know, I'll chuck it in for you. If you don't do that, I'll do what? Take my ball home, not speak to you ever again. You've got to be realistic about what we can do. And most people are very responsive to because, and if you do this, I'll do that. It's a bit of a barter thing. We like that as human beings. Disclosing your feelings. Oh, feelings. No, we don't have any of those. Not in the world and weird and wonderful world of feelings. We don't do feelings. We don't have any of that stuff going on. It's soft and nesh. Another word for you to take that downstairs? Nesh. And in actual fact, it's not. People who know what they're feeling can express it congruently and say, I'm feeling very disappointed with what's just happened, X, Y, Z. And you're explaining it, the face doesn't look like you're grinning, it's congruent. Does that help, mate? So be aware of what you're feeling. It isn't about all becoming tree huggers and counsellors and all those things. I'm a counsellor, I love that side of what I do. It's a very different place to how I'm suggesting we use feelings. You cannot not communicate, guys. You cannot not influence.